the awkward moments are over. Next in this relationship is when we make love. When we make love, birds will sing, bells will ring, everything. When we make love, heaven will smile, all the while, like a child. When we make love, you will see right into me, and all dreams we wish to share, if we take care. When we make love, when we make love, there's a way just to say, always stay. When we make love, there's a time we will find so sublime. When we make love, love will show by the glow which shines wherever we may go, and we will know when we make love. When we make love, we will touch, all for us, oh so much. When we make love, we will kiss in the midst of such bliss. When we make love, we can tell deep in the swell that we are one, forever one, and we are one. When we make love, I do hope you enjoyed that song, When We Make Love, which to me reminded me of an old song called the Anniversary Song, which is very sentimental but had the same type of feeling. Now, of course, there are all kinds of different loves that people have for each other. This next story that I want to tell involves a baby that was born at the old Children's Hospital in Washington, D.C. on 13th Street at the bottom of a big hill by Central High School. And when I was a chief resident for pediatric neurosurgery at that time, you spend a 6-month period. Again, you're on for 24 hours, 7 days a week, and you're all by yourself as a resident. We did a lot of kids that had all kinds of congenital malformations, like hydrocephalus, which is water in the brain, myelomeningocele, tumors, whatever. And there was one little girl who was born with a myelomeningocele, which is a malformation in her spine, where the spine is open and a lot of the nerve roots really are just open to the air. So we repaired that, and this baby right away was doomed to be paraplegic. But also, subsequently, she developed what's called hydrocephalus. Now, hydrocephalus is where the fluid that's in the brain, called the cerebrospinal fluid, the French called eau de roche, which means mountain spring water, because that's what it looks like. This fluid normally circulates throughout the brain through a system, and then down into the spine, then back up into the brain where it's reabsorbed. If there's any kind of blockage during that system, the fluid builds up, and that's why it's called hydrocephalus, or water on the brain. The way to help people with this condition is, at first, as they're babies when they're born, we put an external drain from a tiny little hole into the skull, and put a catheter into the cavity of the brain, and then just let it drain out, making for sure that it doesn't become infected, etc. At any rate, she was doing fairly well to this, and there was a point when her attending surgeon, who was ahead of me, but I was taking care of his patient, felt that this baby, he wanted to see if she could make it on her own and she could live without that shunt. Anyway, predictably almost, in the middle of the night, about 2 or 3 o'clock, I got called from the intensive care unit that the baby was failing without the shunt. So I decided to rush down to the hospital. I got in my car and was racing about 80 miles an hour in Washington, D.C., when I was stopped by a police car. I explained the situation, and they told me to follow them. Well, I did follow them, but I knew a shorter cut to get to the hospital, and I took it, so I kind of ditched the police, but they showed up just after I did. I went ahead and put this catheter back in the brain, and she stabilized, and then she did go on to make a satisfactory recovery, remain paraplegic, but did have a lot of her other functions back, like movement of her arms and her brain. She did go on to finish high school and junior college, and her mother, speaking another kind of love, also was an artist, and for the 6 or 7 months that she was in the hospital there, she made a mural, not only of the corridor of where her daughter was, but it just kept growing and growing for many of the corridors in the hospital. Just made a wonderful, beautiful, colored, natural mural of the sky and nature and trees and ground and flowers and all that sort of thing. And so that was just a lovely show of her dedication and the love that she had for her daughter.